into sales and looking for quick and easy sales techniques without significant investment? Or have you got a new sales member in your sales team who is looking for an introductory course to selling to lift their confidence, competence and enthusiasm? Then look no further. This mini masterclass is 10 minutes of pure goodness, which will set any salesperson off in the right direction. The success of selling is based on 3 pillars: confidence, competence, and enthusiasm. Confidence to invest in relationships, ask questions, and be yourself. Competence and knowledge of the product and service that you're distributing, and enthusiasm to tackle each day with energy and vigour. These 3 pillars at Evolve Sales Training help launch junior salespeople to become the best in the game. What I really loved about sales was that it's one of the few industries that your performance is directly related to your remuneration, and that if you're a high performer, you were paid the most. That was the most attractive part of why I got into sales. When I started in sales at 16, I learned how to generate revenue from clients by offering a product or service. This has been entrenched into how I view business, and as such, with any business I'm involved with, it's the first question I ask or the first problem I solve. I would suggest that any business needs to be sales-led. The best advice I could give a junior salesperson is to remain organised and to understand that it does take time, consistency and persistence. Most people will want things here and now. And the reality is with sales roles, it's kind of slow and steady. Slow and steady works and is far more sustainable. And in a fast-paced, crazy world that we live in, having the confidence to know that you will succeed is also super important. The big thing is understand your activity metrics and ratios. I call this the goal roll down, but effectively it's about activity and numbers. So what types of activities do I need to do to make sales? How many of these activities do I need to do? What are my conversion rates and my ratios? And when do I need to do these activities? If you know what you need to do to convert, how often you need to do it, and you just focus on that, then the numbers will come. I'd just like to caveat here, some people require a small amount of activity to convert business, and other people will require much more activity. We go into the idiosyncrasies of successful conversion, successful selling in our masterclass for how to sell for rookies. The 3 pillars of a top-end salesperson are confidence, competence, and enthusiasm. So let's start with confidence. One of the main reasons why confidence is so critical is because of first impressions that you give clients and peers, even when you're not feeling it. If you emulate confidence, you will yield a more confident response from people. This can play out in a few different ways. You can maybe not take yourself too seriously, and you could laugh at yourself when you make an error, or it simply allows you to engage and build rapport. Standing tall, smiling, open body language will significantly better your responses. I guess it comes down to looking at the science behind first impressions. If you sit there all hunched over and closed and sort of almost kind of small, someone may think that you're unconfident, you may look insecure and that you don't believe in yourself. However, if you sit there, even if you're not feeling it, if you sit there strong, open and feeling like you are open to a conversation, that really plays out in the client interaction. Well, that's certainly the million-dollar question, and if only I had a small pill that could give me confidence or you confidence immediately. People are still writing about how you can do this, but in my experience, it's a 3-stage formula. The first stage is fake it until you become it. And Amy Cuddy writes a lot about this. It's about emulating confidence until it feels more natural. This obviously can be disastrous at times where you completely overdo it, but have some fun with it. Try different positions when you're sitting in meetings. Try different handshakes, presentation styles, and work out what feels good and what works, and then repeat it. The second stage is post-mortem everything you can. decompress and post-mortem meetings and client interactions and work out what worked well and simply repeat it. And the final, most important one is don't sweat the F-ups. Confidence building and experimenting with different things is going to be a complete disaster on a few different levels at different times. You cannot possibly build confidence without working out what works and what doesn't. Don't sweat the small stuff and push through and just forget they even happened, because after all, no one else is going to remember, only you. There's two main areas I like to talk about where displaying confidence to clients. The first one is where you define the problem. So being curious and asking questions is being super honest. So despite some training techniques, confidence is actually about being authentic, deep listening, and trying to truly understand the problem the client has, and not jumping into solution until the problem has been clearly defined. The second is really about boundaries and saying no to certain business and certain clients. Shaping how the client relationship works for both parties, or simply stepping away from a client acquisition, is really where it's not right, shows the utmost confidence in your own abilities and the product or service that you're selling. The trust triangle is one of the best resources out there in the market. So logic, empathy, and authenticity. So logic is, I know you can do it, your reasoning and judgment are sound. Authenticity is, I experience the real you. And empathy is, I believe you care about me and my success. The second pillar for successful and effective selling is competence. Competence is really about trust, and whether your client will trust that what you say is what you are saying about the product or service is true and correct. If you show a high level of competence and understand the product and service inside out, then your conversions will be far higher than if you don't. So I guess you would be asking, as a rookie salesperson, how can I possibly show a high degree of confidence without really understanding or knowing the product or service? As a rookie salesperson, just make sure you know the features and the benefits of the product. You don't overpromise if you don't know, and just be really honest. Most junior salespeople will struggle to have meaningful client interactions if they do not have the competence and knowledge of the product or service. If they do not lean into having client conversations and being really curious, then naturally they lean out and it affects their confidence. And this actually has a significant snowball effect. New salespeople often have such high expectations of themselves that they can burn out too quickly. A junior salesperson could probably come into an organisation and see some of the highest performers and think, you know, oh, I'm going to go and get there in a hot 2 minutes. But the reality is that that isn't possible. And this is where people can get disenfranchised. So my advice would be, come in, have faith and self-belief that your hard work will pay off. Lean into client interactions regardless of whether your competence of the product and service is high or not. Well, this really is one of the main questions. So my suggestion would be to be honest. The key thing is to be honest about what you do and you don't know. Be organised and prepare for the meeting, so a meeting or interaction, so that you can ask really quality questions. And also have 1 or 2 anchor points which you have researched, which you can lean on if the meeting gets railroaded. These anchor points can be anything from past client interactions at a basic level. They can be the research that you do based on the actual client themselves and their interest in things outside of traditional work environment. It can be a few things that won't take long to research, but that when the meeting doesn't go to plan, that you can dig deep and action it. And the final one is follow up and do what you say you're going to do. When polling hundreds of rookies in my career, one of the biggest asks is always, how do I build credibility quickly? And this is really, for me, about building competence. This mini masterclass is just a small flavour of the masterclass and Masterclass Plus we have at Evolve Sales Training. So please visit the website to access more training for guaranteed success. Missed opportunities cost you as a salesperson and your business a lot of money. Stick to the process that you've been taught. Don't cut corners and do A to C as per sales playbook. If you do not follow the process as a rookie, you are flying blind and the results will show this. You'll notice here that these actions and behaviours don't require a deep understanding of the industry or product or service that you're selling. As a rookie, you typically start with little knowledge of the industry. It's just about you asking questions, being super curious and defining the problem. And of course, there's the ability to set boundaries and say no to clients when they don't fit your ideal client persona. And finally, let's talk about enthusiasm. You need boldness, charisma, and energy, and this comes to life with enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is about motivation. Motivation to solve a client's problem, motivation to ask questions, motivation to invest in the conversation. Sales is not about being a passenger, but a driver. But that doesn't mean you talk too much. But it means that you drive the conversation, you ask questions, engage, and invest in the conversation. This is the heart of enthusiasm. Broadly, there's 3 types of salespeople. The first type are financially motivated. They're your absolutely money first, hungry salespeople who just want to earn money. The second is someone who is really strongly purpose-led. They are led by the purpose. They want to solve client problems. They want to help people. Their drive is to genuinely serve customers. And then the final one is the hybrid, which is, I guess, in between the two. This is really basically purpose-led, but also financially motivated. There's nothing wrong with being just financially motivated. In fact, I would suggest most salespeople are based in that first column, or just being purpose-led. It's more about understanding which one you are and enjoying the actions and making sure that your actions are congruent with your style and how you're motivated. A salesperson should never focus on being reactive. One of the biggest challenges that salespeople face is that they do actually naturally become quite reactive to their clients' needs and other external factors which are going on around them. So some of the best sales work that I've done is when I'm actually not servicing any clients and where the noise is quite quiet. And so I've been able to think strategically about mapping my clients out, who I want to work with, who I don't, how I want to partner, and how I want to acquire these clients. It becomes complicated when you have lots of clients that you have to service to actually delineate between the proactive new to business sales work and also the reactive servicing current customers. I believe that sales need to focus on new to client acquisition, and account managers should focus on servicing and growing existing business. We have an awesome masterclass on the website which is about teaching an account manager to sell like a hunter. So do check it out if you're interested in this area of sales training. The first thing I would suggest is lean in and engage with experienced sales folks or get some mentoring training around tips and hacks that you can do to get some quick wins. The second would be absolutely focus on your activity and your metrics. Try and squeeze those conversions and reduce those ratios. And the final one will be approach each activity and an action with enthusiasm and positivity. The law of attraction is so real. So lean in, show willing and keenness, and you'll see those conversions increase. I'd expect you'd like to access more content and answers to your questions. So please check out the Evolve Sales Training website. There is lots on there, masterclasses, Masterclass Plus, and of course, sales mentoring over an extended period of time to really supercharge your sales career.